What up, everybody? We're back. Sorry, the screen went down there just for a second, but we are back. We are good. We are here, and through thick and thin, the Seattle Indies Expo will continue as we talk about all things Seattle, indie, and gaming. And we're almost through day one, Mac. Any notes that we got to keep in mind as we move forward here?
Notes. Well, it's not over yet. We are still going to interview the devs from Dooria, but we've seen a lot of amazing games. So I think the biggest note is just go on to Steam right now, wishlist everything if it's not already out, or put it in your cart because there's a Steam event going on where a lot of the games that you're going to see over the next couple of weekends are deeply discounted, as well as some games that you saw last year.
Absolutely. And don't forget to go and check out the Tiltify link that is goes straight towards helping this organization continue to run, do these events, and help game developers in the Seattle area and so on and so forth make amazing games and do amazing things like what we're showing you off today. One quick reminder, we'll remind you again at the end of this that this is not the only week, because next Saturday, the 18th at 11 a.m., we will be back, but I will be turning into another awesome individual. Her name is Meg Cayley. You guys will be in good hands, I promise. She'll be back for the 18th and also the 25th, because there are 3 weekends of this amazing event showing off a whole ton of games, and we can't wait for you guys to enjoy and feast upon the glory that you are about to see. So with that being said, we're going to hop right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gene Lang. Lang, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. The developer of Dooria. Thank you so much. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, let's get right into it. Give us that nice elevator pitch. What is this game? What's it all about?
So I like to think of it as kind of a deceptively cozy, unique hardcore puzzler with a non-linear flow and multiple solutions for each puzzles that take you off in a different direction. And it's best understood by playing through the game multiple times. It's kind of designed with that in mind.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime a dev says non-linear, I just go, yes, tell me more. I'm listening.
Sure.
So before we get into the deep discussion about this, we are going to take one final look at the trailer for Dooria. Let's check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, now, while we're discussing this, Rick, as always, will be playing this game and using the heckin' thinkies to make sure that we get a good look at what this game's all about. Now, let's start it off by asking the doors. What is going on here?
So I'm so interested in this.
Well, I don't know why I picked doors, but it was an original kind of a mechanic that popped into my head at some point. And it just seemed appropriate. I don't know. Like I wanted to make a game that is entirely just walking through doors. Like you pick a door and you walk through it, and that's the entire gameplay mechanic. Like you solve the puzzles that way, you travel between locations that way, and it's I don't know. Yeah, there's no special significance.
I just find that really interesting. Being like, I came home one day, opened the garage door back in, and was just like,
Game
I'm
idea.
gonna make this a game. Yeah. And now we have Dooria, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, now let's get a couple of things clarified here. So, is it just you for the development of this game?
For the most part, I have a friend who's helping me out. Been helping me out with programming, but we kind of have a little, I don't know, labor trade. He's not actually part of Paper Atom. He's got his own gig going on. He's been working on his own game, and I've been helping him out with art. So we've just been trading. He's programming for me. I'm doing art for him. So, but he's the only one who's helping out.
Amazing.
So,
okay.
Can you walk us through some of the puzzles? What are we seeing here with Richter and how he's playing?
I love the face, by the way. I thought the, oh no.
I think the best way to think of the puzzles is kind of like to start from scratch. Like imagine you're facing in a single direction, and some things are on your right and some things are on your left. And when you turn around and they'll face in the opposite direction, now the things that were on the left are things on the right, and vice versa. Now if you add a couple of doors in front of you and you walk through the door on the right and then turn around and face it, you'll see that the door is now on the left. And that kind of spatial thinking is the foundation of how like the two sides of the puzzles work.
Sure.
Oh, I'm starting to see this. Oh my god, that's crazy.
My brain's going.
That's how turning around works.
Yeah.
Whoever thought that turning around was complicated?
It's not, but it's kind of hard. Yeah, and so on top of that, I mean, turning around is not very fun. But you start introducing a bunch of different doors with like rows and columns, and you start introducing a little rules where, like, let's say you work through a door and it causes the door to drop and the whole column drops. So when you come back to this side, you now have access to doors that are higher up, so you can reach higher levels. And as you play through the game, you kind of start to discover these mechanics, like through trial and error. And as puzzles get a little more complicated, the mechanics start to mix. You might have one mechanic on one side, another mechanic on another side, and I don't want to say it gets too crazy, but it kind of does a little bit.
Sure.
With like later puzzles, but hopefully that's part of the fun of the game.
Is he trying to match doors or get to a certain point in the game to unlock a story portion? What is he trying to do by going through the doors?
There isn't really a specific objective, but you do beat a puzzle by entering a door at the top row.
Okay, so the goal is to get to the top.
Yeah, and the rules are basically that doors that look the same are linked. So if you exit out of a door, that's brown, you can go into a door that's brown.
Okay.
Although over here, there's a lot of brown doors, but like the similar doors you can traverse. The other ones are locked. And the game kind of guides you that in that direction by having them open for you.
And you do get to the point to where if you could mess up, where you have to reset.
Yeah,
so
it gets pretty brutal. But you can reset the puzzle. if you screw up, which most of the time you will. But there's no
Sure.
time pressure. There's no dying. There's no limit to anything. You're just dive in and kind of
Just-
explore.
You and the doors. Trying
That's
to-
all it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you?
At the foundational level, there's other things happening.
Right.
Right, and actually, as a segue, I wanted to ask: Could you speak to the story of what's happening here? Who are you? Why are you? And also, am I crazy? But there's no face, right? There's just a head.
There's no I kind of kept the characters super simple.
I like that.
I figured there's no need for faces because there's no dialogue, there's no speech, there's no text in the game. That was kind of like one of my limitations that I set for myself. But yeah, I figured if I can't do it with a body gesture, it's not really worth doing, not that important.
Right.
Sure.
But yeah, there's not really a story, but there is a theme.
Okay.
And for me, the theme is kind of like about a missed opportunity. And all these puzzles are a metaphor for all the difficulties involved in, I guess, like recreating that opportunity so you can try again. So there are, like as you play through the game, you may encounter the other character, and at first it may seem random, but as you explore the game, you may start discovering that his is a pattern, and you can try to figure out how to make your paths intersect, so that you can have more encounters, and hopefully that affects the ending in some way. There are multiple versions of the ending.
Right.
Oh wow.
With that, we're talking about that and finding those different endings. Is the diverging paths of how this game works? Are those paths, the openings to those paths, available via the puzzles, or are they open via? So it's directly in the puzzles.
So if
figure out.
Yeah, if you look at the top row of the puzzle, you'll see that there's a set of doors. And if you look, I mean, not in this particular one, but in most of them, if you look at the top row, the doors are different. And if you finish the door on side A, it leads you in one direction. It takes you to one puzzle. If you finish it on side B, it takes you in another direction. And sometimes there's weird doors up there that take you elsewhere completely, but they're hard to get to.
Sure.
That's wild. Really quick reminder, everybody watching this, if you have any questions that you would like us to ask, please drop them in chat. We see you, and we would love to ask the questions that you guys have about this amazing game. So just a quick reminder. Mac, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask?
I'm just like still understanding the puzzle behind the doors. It's such a fun, unique concept. I really gravitate towards puzzle games, and so I really like what you've done here by
Thank you.
like simplifying it, but also it's not simple. It's like it's both, and I really love it. How long did it take you to come up with this concept from start to where we are right now with it?
Ooh, the concept actually came to me pretty quickly. Like I woke up one morning and I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing. But it wasn't trying to make a game. It was more of an experiment to just try things out and see puzzle mechanics that work for me.
Sure.
And originally the game wasn't even intended for public consumption. So it was a while before I started adding like user-friendly features, and some of that like pie crust is still in there. So the
Yeah,
game
it's
is
still
very like reluctant to give you information about what's going on how things work. So you just kind of have to figure it out on your own. But yeah, it's easier to understand as you start playing and kind of make your way through the game. It's hard to understand it by watching it.
Right, right. Like as you do it, like a trial by fire, if you will, just kind of
Basically,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
A
testing
lot of
out,
it is
figuring
trial and
out what it
error.
does. Yeah, yeah. Love that. And the art style, it's so beautiful. It's almost
Thank you.
like a painting. Yeah, I just get like a reminiscence of like an art gallery in a way. How did you land on this art style and direction for your game?
I just wanted to make a 2D game. I've always liked that. Like I worked in 3D games before, and it was not really my thing.
Sure.
And being an artist, I was just kind of did a bunch of concepts, and I was like, okay, I think this feels pretty good. And I took a lot of inspiration from the city I grew up in, St. Petersburg in Russia. So that has some of that vibe.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to keep it kind of like flat and painted, but just give it a little bit of atmosphere and kind of melancholy a little bit.
Yeah. I definitely see that. It really reminds me of, I can't remember the name of the painting or the artist, but it's that like iconic diner painting. It's nighttime and I think it's snowing. I get that vibe, and I just
think
really
I know
love
what
this.
you're talking about. Yeah.
I think I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that as well.
So and to branch off that, August in chat wants to know if you could talk more about how the environment art is created. So actually, like, what was your process here to make this? Obviously, the art is super huge and super important in this. Like, how did you go about making this?
Sure. I just kind of start with the concept, and then I basically just paint out the puzzle scene. Paint out the front side of it, and paint out the rear side, and then just assemble it in Unity. And there's not really a whole lot of complexion to it. Complexity, rather. But
it doesn't have to be.
yeah. It's just get ideas for like what's a good location, what's an interesting location, and just kind of start painting it, and then put it together.
And
have it.
Yeah, go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then have it animate and do all those moves and little things like that. So you have to add other texture and then layer it on top of that.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time animating the characters by hand. So which was like a mistake on my part.
Did you go all the way through with that, or did you end up switching over to something else later on?
No, I just kept it and kept at it. Some like the intro sequence took forever.
Ooh.
And the outro sequence took forever because I was just like
good.
painting every frame.
Speaking to that, though, what were some other challenges that you faced during the process of making this?
Everything was a challenge, actually. I mean, that's how it is in development world.
Sure.
Some of the big ones were integrating everything together, kind of like it's not super cohesive yet, but making sure that the puzzles work, because I don't know, I had to play through them and like rearrange them and make sure that they can be solved on both sides, which was a bit of a challenge, especially with the more complex ones. It was very like brute force approach. The other stuff was just like making it all mesh together, because there's like 20 different paths you can take through the game and they all have to work.
So does that mean there's 20 different endings, or just different?
No, there's like 8 different endings. It's the same ending, it just has a different vibe to it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to ask about that. Like, what was the inspiration, or what was it that you felt, like, why did you choose to go non-linear and then instead of just a straight up linear progression puzzle based system? What was it that enticed you to make that happen?
It was the freedom, I think, kind of giving people a little bit of choice, and also because of the replayability, I wanted to give everyone a different experience and ways to explore stuff. Because in linear games, you just kind of like, you start at a train station and another train station, and that's about it. But here, yeah, I just wanted a little bit of freedom for me, at least, for people as well.
So we talked about the art, we talked about the design, the music. Let's talk about the audio of this. Now, I believe you said that you did this part, correct?
Yeah.
And so where did the design come from for that? And you know, do you feel like you got where you wanted to be with that, or do you plan to work on that anymore, or where are you with that?
I'm still working on it. I'm kind of refining some of the things, but yeah, I mean, I've never done audio before, so this was a bit of a journey on its own. But I had fun. I would find things in the world that I could record and just kind of use as samples and mix them together. And then for music, I basically just use like GarageBand on my phone and just Audacity.
Yeah.
I'm only now like starting to get into things like Cakewalk and stuff like that. But yeah, the game uses super simple tool for development. It's just Unity and like a really old version of Photoshop. That's about it.
There you go. I mean, and you don't need, like, that's the big thing, is like, you don't always need the crazy stuff. If you have an idea and you can refine it into a way that a simple tool is going to help you achieve your goals, then why not? And it sounds like in this situation, like, you weren't interested in building the most complex, you know, engineering feat when it comes to gaming. You wanted to make a game about doors and non-linear and beautiful art and good music, and it sounds like that's something that you've worked towards, and it's super cool to see. That is super cool to see.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think it's like it's close to what I was aiming for. I'm still working on some of this stuff, obviously. There's going to be updates and things like that.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, so as we see where it is right now, are you at full release, or are you planning to patch it after full release? And is there any plans in the future for this game once you maybe have hit that point where you've done tweaking it, so maybe more content or something?
Yeah, I've released it last year, but I'm still adding content. Like, there's a patch that comes out in a while, and I've been adding couple patches over the last year. It's been a really slow process because well, my programmer Muir, he's been busy with his life, I've been busy with my life.
Sure.
But I'm still kind of exploring some things and working on some things.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's not over, but it's good enough to be up for sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and even at that point, like, if you have more things and more stuff to do after that, it doesn't sound like it's like, well, it's broken, I've got to fix it. No, it's just there's more stuff you would not.
Yeah, it's not broken.
So anybody else who's considering grabbing this game, hearing that it's getting patched after launch, remember, that's not fixing, that's adding to.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not fixing gameplay. Adding to it. Yeah.
Yep. So, which I always love. I always love to see that with devs. We're just like, okay, we released it, but also like,
we're still working on it.
Yeah, I don't want to put anything out that you can't actually play through.
Yeah. Yep. So like, assuming that you kind of wrap things with this, do you have any interest or plans in doing more with this, or are you interested or doing a new project?
I'm a little torn because I wanted to do something else, but I'm also kind of like, maybe do a sequel. Maybe not.
Ooh.
I have
knows?
an idea that's been brewing in my mind for like a completely different game, but
okay.
I want to try that out. But this is
Cool.
probably going to go on for another year.
For
Awesome.
those people that are big into achievements, are there achievements in this game that you can unlock via the various endings or making it to certain levels of the doors or?
Not really. I wanted to skip achievements because it's not exclusive to Steam, so we're
Sure.
trying to integrate some achievements into the game, and it's taken a while.
Right.
And I definitely want to add something that I'm working on right now that would make it worthwhile to just go crazy and solve everything. And it's probably going to be a different ending.
Right.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time with Dooria, but Gene, thank you so much for coming in and telling us.
Thank you, guys.
Beautiful game.
Very
We wish you
beautiful.
all of the
Yes.
best. Before we get out of here, I want to hand it to you to tell everybody where to follow you and to find the game, and just tell everybody what to do with their time. How about that?
Yeah, Plug City.
Don't follow me, but go to DooriaGame.com. It's probably the best place to go check it out. It has links to Twitter, social media, whatever. I'm not big on social media. And the game's available on Steam and itch.io for now. Maybe more platforms later.
There you go. Well, thank you again so much. And Rick,
Of course.
thank you so much for being a wonderful gameplay artist.
Yes.
And struggling through so many games and enjoying others. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come in and hang out with y'all.
Not a problem. Have a good one, guys. We'll
All right, take it easy.
soon.